Hey crafter, welcome back to my channel Craft is Autonomous, where I give you the knowledge and skills you need to craft it yourself. So today I am bringing you some more crochet borders. This week I'm going to show you 5 different borders that create a ruffle, scalloped, wavy kind of edge. I'm again using this random yarn, my 5mm size H crochet hook, and I'm going to work around just this little thing I crocheted here. As a quick note, I'm going to show all of these borders worked around this, where I'm just working evenly in the round. However, if you're working on a project like a blanket that has corners, you'll need to do some repetitions of all of these patterns in the corners to have enough fabric to get around those edges. But otherwise, I'm going to show you everything you need to know to crochet these 5 ruffle borders. Let's get into it. We're going to create our first border by using chain stitches and treble stitches. So we're going to start by putting a slip knot onto our hook. And I'm just going to insert my hook wherever I wanted to start and slip stitch just to join. So this is going to be a repeating pattern. The way this works is we're going to start by chaining 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then in that spot where we joined, we're going to work a treble stitch. So that's where we yarn over twice, insert our hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Then we're going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and in that 3rd stitch, insert our hook, and we'll tack down that little ruffle with a slip stitch. We'll create this little ruffle scallop just like that. And that we're going to repeat all the way around, so I'll show you that again. Start by chaining 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then in that same spot where we slip stitch, we're going to work a treble, so yarn over twice, and then work that treble stitch. Once we've worked that, we're going to skip 1, 2, and in the 3rd stitch, insert our hook and slip stitch. Show you one more time. Start by chaining 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then work a treble in that same spot where we slip stitched. So I'm pulling through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Skip the next 2 stitches, and in that 3rd one, insert our hook and work a slip stitch. So I'll work it all the way around and show you how this pattern turns out. So I repeated this pattern most of the way around. When you get to the end, you may find that you don't quite have enough stitches to do a full repeat, or you may have too many stitches, so you may need to adjust. So in my case here, I'm going to do my chain 4, work a treble, and then I've got enough room where I can skip 2 and slip stitch. So then for this last one, I've kind of got 2 that I can skip. I'll go ahead and chain 4, work that treble, and then I can either skip 1 and slip stitch right here, or I can slip stitch where I very first started, which is what I'm going to do in this case. And at that point you can fasten off. And this is how the chain and treble border turns out. Our next border I'm calling the basic shell border. We're going to start again with a slip knot on our hook. Pick a spot to start, and we're going to work a slip stitch in our first spot. So I'm just going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 to work a single crochet stitch. Then I'm going to skip 1, 2 stitches, and in the following stitch I'm going to work 5 double crochet stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, all in that same stitch. Like that, and then I'm going to skip 1, 2, and in the 3rd stitch, work a single crochet. And then I'm just going to repeat this project all the way around. So skip 1, 2 stitches, in the 3rd stitch, work 5 double crochet. So 1 double crochet, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip 1, 2 stitches, and then work a single crochet in the following stitch. One more time, skip 1, 2 stitches in the third stitch, work 5 double crochet stitches, so 1, 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet, 4 double crochet, and 5 double crochet. Skip 1, 2 stitches, and in the following stitch, work a single crochet. So I'll repeat that all the way around and show you how this one turns out. So again, you may find yourself in a situation like this where I've worked all the way around, and if I were to just work the pattern evenly, I'd end up right here and I really don't have enough room for another shell. So what you can do instead is we'll shift this second to last shell over a stitch. So we'll just skip 1 there and then work the 5 double crochet in the next stitch. Kind of compensate and make up for the too few stitches. We'll just squish these shells a little bit closer together. 4, 5. This time I'll skip just 1 and then work a single crochet, skip 1 and then do 5 double crochet to make the shell. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again we'll skip just 1 and then we'll just slip stitch in the top of our single crochet from the beginning of the round. So we kind of squished those last 2 in there. We didn't skip as many stitches as we did all the way around, but from looking at this you'd never be able to tell. And this is the basic shell border. This next border I am calling the open lattice shell, and this is going to be similar to the basic shell we just worked, but it's going to be more open and lattice-like, hence the name. So for this one, we're going to again start with a slip knot on the hook. I'm going to pick a spot, and I'm just going to insert my hook and slip stitch to join my yarn. This again is a repeating pattern. I'm going to skip 1, 2 stitches, and this time I'm going to chain 1 and then treble. So skip those 1, 2 stitches and insert a treble in that third stitch. So treble is where we yarn over twice. Work a treble here. Chain 1, work a second treble stitch where we worked that first one, chain 1, work a third treble stitch in the same spot, chain 1, work a fourth treble in this spot, chain 1, and then to finish it all up, we're going to skip 1, 2, and in that third stitch, work just a basic slip stitch. That's the open lattice shell, and then we're going to repeat this process. So to repeat, we're going to chain 1, skip 2 stitches, work a treble, so yarn over twice, work a treble in that third stitch, kind of a taller stitch there. Chain 1, work a second treble in that same stitch as our first treble. Chain 1, work a third treble into the same spot. Chain 1, work a fourth treble. Chain 1, skip 1, 2 stitches, and the third stitch, insert our hook and slip stitch to join. Let me show you that all one more time. Chain 1, and then we're going to skip 1, 2 stitches, and in the third stitch, work a treble. Chain 1, work a second treble in that stitch. Chain 1, work a third treble in the stitch, chain 1, work a fourth treble in that same spot, then to finish it up, chain 1, skip 1, 2 stitches, and slip stitch in that third spot. I'm going to repeat that all the way around. Again, I may need to adjust when I get to where we started to make them fit, kind of like I did with the previous pattern, but once I've gone all the way around, I'll show you how this border looks. And here is how the open lattice border turns out. I think this is so pretty. Again, very similar to the basic shell, but just a little more open and lacy. Our fourth border is going to be the single crochet ruffle. So this uses just single crochet stitches, pretty straightforward, and it's a really fun one to add to your project. So we're going to start with a slip knot on the hook. We're going to insert our hook into our project, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 to work our first single crochet. And for the first round of this border, we're just going to single crochet evenly all the way around. So just work single crochet in every stitch evenly around, and we're going to do a total of 3 rows to create this pattern. So I'll meet you back at the start of this row. So I've completed the first round. I've gone all the way around evenly with single crochet stitches, and I'm just going to slip stitch to join. So now for this next row, I'm going to start by chaining 1, and we're going to do a repeating pattern where I do 2 single crochet followed by 1 single crochet. So every other stitch, I'm going to do a single crochet increase. So in this stitch here, I'm going to work 1, 2 single crochet in that same spot, and then in the next stitch, just 1 single crochet. 2 single crochet in the next stitch, 1, 2, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 2 single crochet in the next stitch, 1, 2, 1 single crochet in the next stitch. And I'm going to repeat that all the way around. You might notice your project's starting to get a little ruffly, a little wavy. That's what you want it to do. I'll meet you at the end and show you round 3. So I finished round 2. I'm going to slip stitch in the top of my first stitch to join. And then for round 3, the final round, we're going to chain 1 and then work 2 single crochet in every single stitch. So in this first one, I'm going to work 1, 2. In the next stitch, work 2 single crochet, 1, 2, 2 single crochet in the next one, 1, 2. And by working all these increases, we're going to throw a bunch of extra stitches, and it's going to cause it to ruffle and become wavy along the edge. So I'm going to repeat this all the way around, slip stitch to join, and then I'll show you how this pattern turns out. So after finishing round 3, I'm just going to slip stitch in the top of my first single crochet from the beginning of the round, and then I would fasten off. And what this pattern does is creates this fun ruffle along the edge of your project. This is so cute on things like baby blankets or even a hat for a baby. This almost looks like a little hat here. But it's really simple, but gives it a fun texture. It's time for our 5th and final border, which is going to create a ruffle that's a little bit spaced away from our project. So to start this, we're going to start with a slip knot on our hook. And the first stitch we need to make is a single crochet. So I've got a slip knot on my hook. I'm going to insert where I want to work my first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is my single crochet. So now we're going to have a pattern that repeats all the way around. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip a stitch, and in the following stitch, work a single crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip a stitch, and then work a single crochet in the following stitch. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip a stitch, and work a single crochet in the following stitch. This is row 1. I'm going to repeat this all the way around, and then I'll show you row 2. So as I get to the end of this row, I just did a chain 3. I'm going to skip a stitch and work a single crochet right here. And to finish it, I'm going to do another chain 3 and slip stitch in that single crochet from the very beginning. We'll just throw in another little bump there. Now it's time for row 2. Row 2, of course, will also be a repeating pattern. So here's how this is going to work. In this chain 3 space, I'm going to work a single crochet, a half double crochet, a double crochet, a half double crochet, and a single crochet. So I worked 5 stitches, single crochet, half, double, half, single, And then to finish it in the single crochet from the previous round, I'm going to insert in the top and work a slip stitch. And then we're going to repeat that pattern all the way around. So it's going to be single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, all worked into the chain 3 space, and then go to the single crochet from the previous row and work a slip stitch. So again, single crochet into the chain space, half double crochet into the same chain space, double crochet into the same chain space, half double crochet into the same chain space, and lastly single crochet. All 5 of those stitches worked in that chain space, and then to finish this little bump, we will work a slip stitch in the single crochet from the previous round. That's going to create this little border. It's going to be a little separated from our project, and it also might get a little bit wavy, but it's just a fun little pattern, and I'll show you how it turns out once we go all the way around. So I've gone all the way around, and again at the end I had that kind of extra one I threw in there, and I'm just going to slip stitch at the start of my round, and then I'll fasten off. And this is how this border turns out. As you can see, it gets a little ruffly because it adds a little bit of width to it, so you could of course create wider spacing in the first row if you don't want it to be quite so ruffly. So there you have it. Those are 5 crochet borders to add ruffles, scallops, whatever you want to call it, to the edges of your projects. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and make sure to come back next week for another crochet border you can use on your projects. I'll see you in my next video, and happy crafting!